guys, I am Samarpan Dasgupta back again with new tutorial video of Flutter series. In this video, we are going to learn about not any fancy topics in the Flutter, but very much fundamental in Flutter, that is about debugging. That is not related to about the Flutter, that is very much useful for any kind of application development. You may be asked, here we know about that when you want to do any debugging in the Flutter, we can write the print to print a value in a terminal, and from the terminal we print the value when we run an app. That's totally fine. But the thing is that the constructive debugging is not work in that way. At the first zone of this video, I am going to give you an example where the constructive debugging comes into the picture. Why you need to do debugging in very much conscious way so that your data can't be leaked, and also you can evaluate your debugging data step by step. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So in the last video, we learned about the state management with provider, and we also learned about how can you bypass the context with the help of consumer to get the data from the local storage. In this video, we can learn about the debugging. So let's understand what the normal debugging we done in the Flutter. Just like I come here in the main screen, in the floating action button, we can print the line here, just like updated number is, and that's the number. Okay, and if I make a hot reload here, okay, so the hot reload is done. Then click on that plus. Here you can see updated number is 151, that is showing here. But the thing is that let's consider a situation where there is more than 1000 that kind of debugging line in a Flutter project, that is a very much professional and production level Flutter project. And if someone written that kind of line more than 1000 or 2000 times, and just like something is printing here in the terminal, how can you decide which line is present in which file, in which number of line? Just like that print statement is present in the main screen, line number 95. But if there is more than 1000 line that kind of is getting print in the runtime in the terminal, how can you predict which line contains in which file and which line number? And there is one more important requirement of constructive debugging than that normal debugging. You connect your mobile device with USB cable in your system, and if you write that print statement in that way, when you use the app, that print statement already will be printed in your terminal. With that kind of debugging statement is written in your application, and someone is developer, they are just connected that their device with a physical device and printing whatever you written in the debugging, and just like you are leaking any kind of information through that debugging statement in the production mode. How that app should be risky there. In that kind of situation, constructive debugging comes into the picture. So let's understand how can we do the constructive debugging. So in the last video, we make different file and folder. So let's make a new folder here, name as helper. Here in that helper folder, make a new file, name as manual debug . You can write it as per your choice, but it is for the manual debugging. So in the manual debug file, I import a important package for that debugging, that is Flutter foundation . Okay, I make a class name as logging, because we want to log the debugging statement in the terminal as of now. Okay, there is different kind of logging message that present in any kind of application, that is info, warning, error, debug and more. We deal with info, warning and error. That's the main three important thing. Now let's make a method here, name as info. Here in that info, we want to take whatever things you want to print. Okay, so here I write text to print, that the data is what the data you want to print in the terminal that you want to log. Okay, you have to first make sure when the app in the production mode that the debugging statement will not be so in that considered situation. So how can we do it? We have to write if k debug mode. So k debug mode, just like it is checking if our application is running in the debugging mode or in the production mode, so it will automatically detect it. Okay, So if it is not running in the debug mode, we don't give the permission to proceed further. but if it is coming here line number 9, that means it is running in the debugging mode. So now we can print the info log with that data that is coming here. Okay, how can we do that? Very easy. We have to write debug print instead of the only print. Okay, so we have to write debug print right here, text to print. Okay, and in that way we can print that. But there is a catch, as I said in the first stage of the video. We have to also detect that text is coming from which file and in which line of that file. How can we detect that? For that we have to do some kind of modification. We have to write here stack trace, sorry, that will be a variable, and here the class name is stack trace, stack trace dot current. Now if you print here, instead of that debug print, if you print here stack trace, how can you print that info? Okay, so that's a method. So what you have to do, you have to first make a object of that class so that you can access that method. Instead of that, I make that method as static so that you can use with the class name. How? In the main screen we can write in that way logging.info. Okay, now that text will be printed here. So as of now we will learn how what is stack trace will be written. Based upon that we can print the text and as well as in which file and which line. So let's make a hot reload and increase the size of the terminal and click on that plus button. Here you can see the stack trace. Okay, so in the second line you can see in the main screen that is printing from line number 96 and in the main screen. So what we have to do, we have to take that particular file name and the number under that file name. So here I write source file link, and here I write stack trace dot toString dot split, and that will be split through /n because we want to break that with that line break, and we want to take that after that splitting with the /n. Okay, so we want to just take that line, and if now we print it here. So if we print here, now if I make a hot reload here and I click on that plus button, you can see it is showing in that way, main screen action button and that thing. We want to just see that copied section, not the other section as well. Okay, how can we do that? Very much easy. So for that we want to just define a regex or regular expression. So what is regular expression? Regular expression is a special kind of expression with special kind of symbols that will be help you to extract some specific kind of data in a bunch of data. So that can be possible through the regular expression. If you want to extract a small bunch of information or a specific kind of information from a large bunch of information, we use regular expression. In the current example, from that big lines we want to just extract that package and that the line. So we can extract that the small bunch of line from that whole line. So here we can use the regular expression. So here I declare a regular expression. So that expression will be help us to extract that particular things from that whole line. Okay, now how can we use that regular regex code line with that source file link? We should write final match data regex code line dot first match. So that will be match at the first time, and that will be source file link. That will be not the first match, that will be string match, that will be source file link. So we will extract the data. So if I copy the match data and if I paste it here and make a hot reload, and if I click on that plus button, you can see that the specific file name with the specific line is showing here. Okay, we can now do one more thing. We want to show at which time, in which file and in which line of that file that debugging statement that is coming through that text to screen will be shown. So how can we do that? That very much interesting. So let's focus on it. We have to write datetime.now. After that you can write here match data. In the next line we can write here text to sprint. that we taking as a parameter in that method. Okay, so what that how that will be print there. Okay, I make a mistake here. Okay. So that's the line. So what that will be done, that will print the at which time the line will be getting printed, and from that match data we can understand in which file, in which line that the data will be shown there. So how can we do that? So we make a hot reload here, and if we click on that plus button, you can see that the date and time is showing when the debugging of info debugging is done, and in which file and in which line it is showing, and that the debugging statement updated number is 156. So if I click on here, you can see that will be redirected to that line from where that statement is written, logging.info. So in that way we can print that info debugging lines. Okay, but the thing is that here if I click on here again and again, you can see that things is getting messy. Okay, because there is no pacing after that. So what we can do, we can beautify it. Even we can do one more thing. Instead of, as you can see here, the debugging statement is coming in the white line, and there is some other line is present that is about some gesture detector and other things as well. We can give that two specific lines a particular color. So how can you colorize your debugging statement? Is very much easy. Just like you want to print your info debugging statement with kind of blue line. Okay, so you have to write here before starting off anything under the debug print that line /x1b 32m. This is a color code. I will tell about that every color code. Please stay patient. And we have to end with /x1b 0m. So if I make a hot reload here, and what we can do, as the line is getting congested, I make enough space after that in before the ending of that line. So I make two line break before that completed. Okay, so if I make a hot reload here, and if I click on that plus button, you can see it is showing in that green line. So I set it blue, but you can print it in the blue or green. I will tell you about the color code as well. So you can see it is showing in the green line, and that's line as colorized. It is the debugging line is separated from other that text or gesture text that is not important for us. Okay, so you can separate that line. So you can so from that debugging line, what you can understand, at what date, at what time, in which file, and in which line of that file the what debugging statement is printing. So in that way you can debug it in very easily in your Flutter application. In the similar way, we can debug with warning message and also with the error message. So I can copy two times that method. So I make the second method as warning and the third method as error. And for the warning message, I want to show the yellow colors. The code for the yellow color is 31m. For the green color, this is 32m. For the warning color, that is 31m. And for the error color, that is red, that will be 33m. Okay, now what we can do, in the main screen we can print in three different debug messages. Logging.info we already printed. Now it's time for printing logging.warning, and the third time is logging.error. Now if we make a hot reload here, and if I click on here in the plus button, here you can see three kind of debugging message is showing there. That's the info message. Okay, I mistakenly make a red color to the warning message and yellow color to the error message, so I have to alternate that. Sorry guys. So that will be 33 and that will be 31. Okay, now if we make a hot reload here, I increase the size of the terminal, and if I click on that plus, you can see in the green color the info message is showing, the warning message is showing in the yellow color, and the error message is showing in the red color. So through that specific color you can understand which line is the error statement, which line is the error warning statement, which line is a normal debugging message. And with that color statement you can separate that kind of specific debugging lines that you want to generate in your application from that rest of that line. so that you can understand it very easily. So let's understand about different color codes so that you can play it with that. The three important is info, warning, and error. Beside that, there is many more color code. Thus, how can you define different color code? This is very much simple. That's the thing is common, and here that's the thing is also common in the first and in the last. Okay, just that number 32, 33 and 31, that's the number is only changes, else that the first section and that's the last section is always same. Particularly that number will be changed for that color. So let's understand about the different type of colors. For the black we use 30, for red 31, for green 32, in that way. For white that is 37. You can use that different kind of color statement with that debugging message so that you can separate it. So you can take it from the GitHub code for the memorization purpose, or you can copy it from there. Okay, so that's all about the constructive debugging in Flutter application. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you love this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. The next video of that series is coming very soon. Hope you stay safe. Have a nice day. Bye.